Hello, I'm Cammie Emery. I'm with the Division of Science, Nursing, and Allied Health at Bossier Parish Community College. In this session of Open Campus, we're going to talk a little bit about chemistry, and we're going to look at the structure of an atom. So, what is this thing as far as chemistry is concerned within an anatomy and physiology class? Why do you need to know this? We must know something about chemistry in order to actually understand anatomy and physiology. Anatomy is naming those parts. Physiology is how do those parts function. And typically we're studying how they function at a chemical level. Metabolic processes that occur in everything that's considered living are basically chemical reactions. So in order for your body to do the things it does, chemistry is involved. So when we look at atoms, one of the things we know is that the atom is the smallest chemical unit of matter. It's the smallest thing that we can study. When we look at elements, elements are basically matter that's made of one kind of atom. So some common elements and their symbols: carbon is an uppercase C, hydrogen is an H, oxygen an O, nitrogen an N, sodium is Na, sulfur is S, and chlorine is Cl. When we look at living things are mainly made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. Now gold is an element, but we're not going to find gold in living things. So let's look at the basic structure of an atom. This is looking at an atom of helium. Inside the nucleus of an atom, we're going to find protons and we're going to find neutrons. The nucleus is in the very center of the atom. The protons that are inside of the nucleus contain a positive charge. The neutrons that are within the nucleus have a neutral charge. So the overall charge of the nucleus of an atom is positive. Electrons have a negative charge. And electrons are moving in an orbit around the outside of the nucleus. Now in this atom of helium that you see, there's 2 protons and 2 neutrons within the nucleus, and there's 2 electrons in the first shell that's moving around the nucleus. The overall charge of this atom is 0. 2 positives and 2 negatives equals 0. So here is a periodic table. You may want to get a copy of a periodic table to be able to help you understand what these elements are, where they're placed, and what their configurations are. You can see hydrogen is number 1, helium is 2. That helium that we just looked at had 2 protons, 2 neutrons, and 2 electrons. In this drawing, they showed the 2 electrons in that first shell. Now the second energy shell actually can contain up to 8. We can see that oxygen has 2 electrons in its first shell, has 6 electrons in its second. Neon, on the other hand, has 2 in its first shell and 8 within the second. When we look at things that are considered molecules, molecules are basically 2 or more atoms that are bonded chemically. The difference between a molecule and a compound is that compounds are molecules made of atoms of 2 or more elements. So a molecule of hydrogen would be like H2. A compound, which is a molecule made of atoms of 2 or more elements, That would be something like water. Water is really one of the most important solvents within a living organism. We have another segment on water later, but let's review a little bit on this structure of an atom. So when we look at an atom, we said inside of its nucleus, which is the center of the atom, it has protons and it has neutrons. The protons have a positive charge. The neutrons have a neutral charge. So I'm just going to leave that open. In the shells that surround the nucleus is a structure called an electron. Electrons have a negative charge. So basic structure of an atom, this is his nucleus. Within the nucleus, we have protons that are positive. We have neutrons that are neutral. And surrounding that nucleus are electrons. These electrons have a negative charge. So this negative charged particle that's moving around the nucleus is attracted to the positive charged nucleus. So I hope that helps with your understanding of an atom and the structures that are in it. Thank you.